Ethics is the moral principles that governs a person's behaviour or the conducting of an activity. Business ethics is the study of appropriate business policies and practices regarding potential controversial subjects, including corporate governance, insider trading, bribery, discrimination, and corporate social responsibility. Law is mandatory, meaning the business has to follow what the law states, whereas ethics is discretionary, which means that it is a choice whether a business behaves ethically based on the morals and values of the business. Business ethics is important because it helps to ensure a consistent conduct throughout an organisation, improves trust and loyalty, attracts and retains high-quality staff, strengthens external reputation and working relationships, attracts more customers, and helps with marketing and advertising the business. Individual or personal ethics refers to the ethics that an individual identifies with in respect to people and situations in everyday life. For example, being fair, having respect, and being honest. Organisational ethics refers to the ethics that a person must follow in respect of their interactions and business dealings in their professional lives. Sometimes both individual and organisational ethics can clash. This is because personal ethical views and opinions of an individual can be very different to a business's ethics that they have put in place. However, when an individual works for a business, they have to put their personal ethics aside and abide by the ethics of the business. Ethical values are the values that individuals use to make ethical decisions or choices. They are the values that help individuals choose between right and wrong. There are many different ethical values, for example, justice, honesty, compassion, respect, fairness, transparency, trust, and integrity. However, business values are core principles and standards that guide a business and sums up what the business stands for. For example, profitability, customer focus, perseverance, and determination. Ethical values and business values are very different because ethical values involve choosing what is right from wrong and ensuring that an individual is fair on all parties involved. On the other hand, business values could mean that a business strives to do everything and anything in order to meet their targets, which could mean that they operate unethically, for example, by using individuals for cheap labour or child labour in order to keep expenses low and sales profits high. However, sometimes ethical values and business values can overlap, especially if one of the business values is to operate ethically. Nike is an American multinational business that designs, manufactures, and sells clothing, footwear, equipment, accessories, and services. Nike has their own business values as a company, which includes performance, authenticity, innovation, and sustainability. Nike is a very popular brand around the world. This means that they have lots of different stakeholders and a large customer base, which means that the business is frequently affected by ethics and questions what their ethical and business values are. Also, customers like a brand that has full transparency and are fair on their employees and in the environment, which means that Nike have to consider a number of factors concerning their business ethics, but they also have to consider what their business ethics stands for in terms of business values, especially for shareholders of the business, as they are investors and want to ensure that they are getting the most out of their investment. Some of the ethical issues that could affect Nike's operational activities include corporate governance, the environment, working conditions, and human rights. Corporate governance is the way the government sets policies for the business to follow, which includes ethical policies. This could affect Nike's operational activities as they would have to follow and abide by the ethical policies that have been set out for them, which means that operations such as marketing, manufacturing, or distributing could become more expensive for the business depending on their ethical guidelines set by the government. The environment around Nike could affect the way that they carry out their operational activities. For example, if their factories are increasingly polluting the area where there is a community nearby, this could affect getting rid of their wastage and slow down the process, Also, this could stop communities wanting to work for Nike or buy their products. Working conditions could affect Nike's operational activities. For example, Nike has some factories in less developed countries, for example, Indonesia, where the working conditions are not suitable or appropriate for the workers to be working in. This could mean that Nike have an increased staff turnover and then could have a knock-on effect as the business will not be producing as many sales. Human rights could mean that Nike as a business has to ensure that all staff working for the business, including factory workers, would have to be treated fairly and equally. Also, it means that the business has to listen to their employees and give them breaks and pay that they are entitled to. However, this could affect Nike's operational activities as they may be underpaying employees. Therefore, unions would get involved in this and it would slow down the rate of production for the business. Nike has 3 main areas of concern ethically for the company, which includes transparency, environment and working conditions. Transparency. Large businesses such as Nike, which is a multinational business, are in the public eye a lot, which means that they have to be transparent about how they run their business. However, Nike was given a score of 36 out of 100 in Fashion Revolution 2017 Fashion Transparency Index, which indicates that they do not publicise enough about their environmental and social practices. Also, this could show that they are behaving unethically and want to keep it unknown to the public. An example of Nike not being transparent to the public is that Nike uses leather, wool and down feather. However, the business does not specify their sources. This is problematic as the welfare of animals is not guaranteed or even mentioned by Nike. This would make some of their stakeholders, such as customers, pressure groups or shareholders, no longer have an interest in the business because they are not sharing enough about how they operate. Therefore, to improve this, Nike should display more of their environmental and social practices and show that they are making changes if they were being unethical. This would help the business to gain trust from their customers and consumers as they are being honest with them. Environment. Nike uses hazardous chemicals in their supply chain, which is a big problem not only for the workers at Nike but also the customers that wear the clothes. Greenpeace is a pressure group that have voiced their concern around Nike's use of hazardous chemicals as it is polluting the waterways. Also, Nike distributes their waste in the local communities near to where their factories are and burn it, which means that they are creating more pollution with the hazardous chemicals and which are dangerous for everyone in the community, especially young children. In order to improve this, Nike must try to completely stop using hazardous chemicals in the manufacturing process of their products. Nike is trying to behave environmentally friendly and make changes by using eco-friendly materials such as organic and recycled polyester and cotton. Also, the business have made a commitment to reduce its carbon emissions by over 50% by 2025. Working conditions. Nike's working conditions for their workers are not good enough. Workers have claimed that they get kicked, slapped and verbally abused by their supervisors while carrying out their job in the Nike factories. In addition, most of the workers get paid below minimum wage and are working longer than 14-hour shifts. To improve the working conditions for the factory workers, Nike could ensure that there is appropriate ventilation within the working area for the workers. Also, they could give the employees more breaks to let them rest and recover, which would increase their productivity. Nike have already made changes to improve working conditions, as they have made sure that all factories have clean air and have raised the minimum wage that they pay their workers.
So I'm going to be speaking about Nike's ethical practices and how they impact their stakeholders. So the definition of a stakeholder is those who are involved in the decision-making process of a business as a result of them having some sort of stake in the business. Freeman's stakeholder theory of 1984 stated that stakeholders are those without whom the company would not exist. They should all be taken into account when looking at making the company a success, and it is important to keep them happy. I've inserted also a diagram showing different examples of shareholders and stakeholders in the business. So different stakeholders in a business all have different interests in a business. To explain this, I've used the company Nike. Examples of the stakeholders include employees, shareholders, customers, government, and the suppliers. Employees' interest in the business is for the business to do well so that they can keep their jobs. Shareholders' interest in the business are for the business to do well so that they have a good dividend, a good share out of the profit. Customers' interest in a business is for the business to keep prices affordable and for the quality and values to stay the same in order for them to stay loyal to the business. The government's interest in a business is for the business to do well so that they can continue paying their taxes and to ensure that they are following their laws and regulations. A supplier's interest in a business is for Nike to continue doing well so that they can continue buying supplies from them. Nike have upset many people as a result of their failed ethical practices in the past, and in a bid to make a change and become a more ethically acceptable brand, they have put some ambitious goals in place for 2020, which I have pasted a screenshot of found on their website. I will now speak about how different factors can be affected as a result of how ethical Nike are. First, I will start off with reputation. Nike's reputation is clearly affected by their ethical practices. It is shown in their stock prices decreasing when they are getting attention for unethical practices. Prior to 2015, Nike's stock prices were considerably low, and this is as a result of their sweatshop scandal being repeated after 2001. An advantage of Nike's reputation being affected by the ethical practices is that it positively impacts their performance, as it means the business is getting attention, although it is not good attention. Its disadvantage is that it leads to negative brand image and shareholders selling their shares. Nike's public image is another factor that can be affected by their ethical practices. Nike's public image has been improved massively, and this is seen in their revenue increasing over the years. I have pasted a chart to show the increases quarterly from the beginning of 2018 to the end of 2018 and the first 2 quarters of 2019. Their sales were quite low throughout 2018, and this could have been as a result of the sweatshop scandal coming back up, as sales increased again in the end of 2018 and the beginning of 2019. Stakeholders and pressure groups have a big impact on businesses, as the public are more likely to purchase items with a positive social impact. When Nike were experiencing various scandals, their competitors will have gotten the best out of these. Corporate social responsibility. In a documentary released in 2001 titled Behind the Swoosh, it was revealed that Nike had been underpaying workers in Indonesian slums, as well as burning rubber from shoes in areas that children play, releasing dangerous fumes, giving them diseases. Nike have made many positive impacts to the environment. They've done this by using renewable energy sources, such as solar panels, managing energy emissions. They've also looked at how materials are grown before using them in their products, and they've worked with their material suppliers to ensure sustainability in their materials. They have also supported their suppliers in developing and implementing sustainability practices to avoid the impact on the environment. The child labour scandals faced by Nike were those causing the greatest uproar, and rightfully so. The chairman of Nike in 2001, Phil Knight, stated that it was a vexing subject, implying that it was not something which he had approved of. After Nike's 2001 scandal, the company sought out to improve their practices before it returning again in 2017.